row on the left is Mr. Bruce Shields, principal of New Germany High School. Next, Mrs. Jane Odegaard, school board member. Mr. Lloyd Campbell, assistant superintendent of schools. Mr. David Deakston, school board member. And on my right, in the second row, Mr. Arthur Young. Mr. Young is a member of the school board. Mr. David Wright, guidance counselor. Mr. Ron Kleindorf, representing the New Germany Legion. Mr. Billy DeLong, graduate of New Germany and Acadia, and he's going to make presentations on behalf of Acadia. Mr. Scott Luther, our special speaker tonight. Miss Wicker at the back, who we may not see, she teaches at New Germany High School. Mr. Boss, also a teacher at New Germany High. I've now called upon Mr. Bruce Shields to make some comments tonight. Thank you, Mr. Boyd. Platform guests, graduates, parents and friends, welcome to Germany Rural High School's 1983 graduation ceremony. Tonight represents a special night. Not only is it a celebration of 13 years at school, but it is also the last time that these young men and women will be together as a group. I must say that I have enjoyed seeing their struggles turn into successes. I remember watching with concern when they fell flat on their face on occasion, and then smiling to myself as they picked themselves up and went on to succeed. These graduates will attest to the fact that each year at school meant more time with their studies and more difficulty in making good marks. But they have learned, and we hope are better prepared for tomorrow. Graduates, this is your evening. Congratulations on your successes. Enjoy. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's said that there are two types of speakers, one who needs no introduction and the other who deserves none. I don't think our speaker tonight needs an introduction, although he may deserve one, but he didn't give me very much to go on. But he said, if you go on and on about me, I'll be embarrassed and hang my head and turn red, so it will be quite short. When I first met Scott Luther, probably at the graduation. He had such a good sense of humor, I thought sometime I'm going to ask him to be our special speaker, because in all this heat, it's a good time for a sense of humor. Also, one day I went to the drugstore 2-3 years ago, and Scott talked about a little bit about his philosophy and how he'd like to make a trophy available to the school. And in talking to him, I liked his philosophy about school so much, so that was another reason I thought he'd make a good speaker to the students, for the students. Our speaker tonight, as you might be able to tell by looking at him, was born in Newfoundland. That's a compliment. Newfoundlanders can kick around too much.
He lived there for 15 years. Then he came over to finish his schooling in Nova Scotia and attended Dalhousie University and studied pharmacy. From there he worked in the Halifax Infirmary as a pharmacist, and then he moved down to the Dawson Memorial Hospital in the pharmacy, and then he worked at Shoppers Drug Mart in the pharmacy, and then thank goodness he opened a drugstore in New Germany, which we needed and we appreciate, and he's been there for 3 years. The speaker had received a deafening roar of applause following his introduction. Looking over his audience, he said, "As the cow said to the farmer on a winter day, thanks for the warm hand. Would you give Scott Luther a warm hand?"
Don't make it too warm. It's warm enough in here now. I might make a correction or add a little word. And Dean said that I was in Newfoundland for 15 years, not 50 years. Tonight I noticed everybody was telling me, or a few people were telling me, the temperature would remain well under control. And it did until the graduates came in and walked by. I thought they burned all their energy out a few nights ago out here, but I guess there's lots left yet. Maybe we'll let that one sit. How to start an evening to think about graduations that's unique, but always the same, because they all have their long, boring speeches. And I've got another one here. I saw on microchip, so it was a full 3 letters in here. I thought I'd be late tonight. We made it on time. The line up at the liquor store wasn't that bad, so I got around it. But next year we may not be so lucky. When I graduated from high school, I was trying to compare how I would approach all you people here tonight, how to begin it, how to start it off. There's a guidance counselor up here, but I didn't know he was here until I got up to the stage. I could have used all the help I needed. But tonight is the beginning of a long process. The graduating class, each individual will probably, or many of them, will get married again, or some again. They'll buy their first car, and another one, and another one. They'll have their first child, and another one. Some will start a business, be success, and start another one, or fail, and still start another one. You may go from town to town with a new home, go to another town with another one, but tonight is the only night you will ever graduate from a high school. This is the only experience you will have like this. The other ones you can repeat. From here you're going to enter a world that's dominated with talk of bombs, nuclear power, fights among radical groups to dominate the radical part of the Middle East. The highest unemployment there ever was, the highest divorce rate there ever was, the more bankruptcies than we've ever seen before. There's more chaos everywhere, more theft, our prisons are crowded. But I say to you, you know what it means when people say you never had it so good. You're faced with all this. But you're going to do all right. You're going to be able to face everything because each one of you is an individual and each one of you was raised in a very fine area. Most of the people I've met here, I know here, are good, sound people. And if you got just a part of that, you're a long way to getting there. I was in a large office in a small town not too far away from here, an important small town. It was an important office. And I met a young girl, a young lady in there who asked me what I wanted, and I told her. The young chap came in and he introduced himself. He was the assistant chief. Doesn't matter. He was assistant chief inspector. And we posed a question to him, and he didn't know what was going on, but the young lady did seem to know. Then the chief inspector came in, and he looked our way and turned around and sat down with his hands to his chin and ignored us back on. So I said to the young lady, well, maybe get on with this. And the assistant chief inspector, he sort of went away. I figured this young lady was the busy bee among this important office. She had no title. But she knew how to do the work, and she did it all. In the meantime, the phone rang. And she took the phone and she said, well, just one. I think we're busy at the moment. So she put somebody on hold, turned to the chief inspector and the assistant chief inspector, who at this point in time, neither were doing anything. And she said, Joe so-and-so is on the line. And for 2 minutes they discussed amongst themselves because neither of them wanted to talk to this gentleman as to what they were going to do. So they told her to go back on the line and say they were tired of that meeting. So she did. And this chap never went any further. There were these two high-paid, important people in an important office who weren't doing anything except this young girl. She was the only one doing any work there. I guess what I'm trying to say is, don't seek titles. Titles are not important. You're far better off being the young lady doing the work. You can't hide behind a title. You might be able to flog it around at a party, but it's not going to do you any good. You might get a big office, but the higher up you are, the higher the office, the more insecure, the closer to the door you are, as they say. I have found very few sound executives who have big offices and big titles who are not insecure. They're always afraid somebody's going to take their title in their office from them. You're far better off to earn your way with some dignity, and at least you can go home happy. If you happen to earn that office, and you still don't have a flogging title, you're secure, you know you can do it. But don't leave here tonight searching for a title which somebody might have somewhere. because it's not that important. The other thing I might mention that's very important that I've seen happen around me, that is people you help out, do whatever you can for within the limitations you got, and they will turn on you when they get a chance. You know, when the time is right, they'll forget they ever knew you. And I hope you would never do that, or be in that kind of a situation. You can have a situation where somebody, like I say, somebody does you in. You don't have to do anything, because sooner or later, somebody is going to come to you. That same person who did you in is going to come to you and he's going to be in trouble, and you got your chance. Say, now it's my turn. But you stop right there. Just stop right there. Don't return what he did or she did. Do it with a smile, what he wants, and you're better for it, and he knows you're better for it. He knows that you're a man and he's a coward. I've seen it work many, many times. If you can control your emotions, get a grasp of the situation, but when you've got that ability, it's right at hand, you're gone, then don't make the move. Back off. You can let him know you're backing off. Don't let him, so he doesn't think you're a coward. But back off. And you're a far better person for it. From here, as I say, many of us are going to, many of you, are going to have failures. You can expect to have failures in life. One milestone after the other, and they're going to come. You may want to get into school, go further, university. You may not get accepted. You may go decide to get married. It may not work out. You may go to a whole new town, away from the family, and it still might not work out. But every experience is good, and you have to use it in that context. You have to learn from all those experiences. The other thing which I notice, which faces a lot of people, is this social stigma or social, I don't have a word for it. Everybody wants to be king. Everybody next door wants to have the biggest car, the biggest house, the biggest swimming pool. You know, they're going to have more cars and better cars. And it's a big game. It's all over the place. People get offended and their envy runs wild. Who knows, if they knew the bank account of that particular situation, they wouldn't care. But we don't see that. And from a young person graduating, the graduating class here tonight, they're going to walk out and they're going to get a job and they're going to be faced with this. They're going to say, hey, there's a man. He's only been out 10 years and look what he's got. Here's a woman, she's been out only 5 years. Look what she's got. She didn't get it, she got it. Big fancy car, big home, family, real happy. Until the bank closes in. I will ask that you don't be blind to those situations. It's all around you, and you get pressure on you. I get pressure on me in my particular business to do certain things, and it hurts courage to say, no, I won't. Because a little piece of your pride gets sliced off. When you go home at the end of the day, you feel a lot better. Because if you make the move, then you got that thing behind you to face in the coming days. An older chap told me when I was getting ready to graduate from high school, he was a friend of the family's, he was no friend of mine, I didn't really know him. I was sitting in my dad's car, and he came over to the car, and he said, Scott, you finally made it. And I said, well, I guess. He said, tell you what. He said, I know you're all right. How he knew, I don't know. But he said, I know you're all right. He said, the most important thing you can do is make yourself sure that you have a good woman. And I think he was right. And I would say it to graduating class here, make sure you pick a good partner. Because that is if you're going to get married or involved or however people live nowadays, make sure the partner is good. Because one will drag the other one if it's not satisfactory. When you reach out to go on in life, you're going to need to be firm. You're going to need at times to be rigid, but you always must bend a little, sometimes bend a lot. Sometimes give up what you hope you'd never, ever have to give up. But it's not all bad. A lot of people end up in bad situations, and they take it as a good experience. They learn from it, so it never happens again. And you can do it. You are prepared as well as anybody to do it. Let's bring up Newfoundlanders are tough. There's a story of this Newfoundlander. I'm allowed to tell these stories because I'm from over there. The story of these Newfoundlanders who were out on the ice fishing. And this guy from Nova Scotia came over and he walked up to him and he says, I gotta admire you. You guys are tough. You stand out here and it's freezing cold and you're fishing. We sit in here for 3 hours. And these guys, they were up on the end of this saw and they were just a saw on the ice. He said, well, sir, we ain't tough. We're newbies. The guy says, yeah. He said, nobody in the right mind would stand over in this cold. He was sawing up and down in this ice. He said, well, sir, you ain't seen nothing tough. Me brother Harry is down the other end of this saw. You don't have to take it like that through. Newfoundlanders are very, they're very innovative crowd. They drew up a new way of digging a well. Everybody digs wells around here. What these guys do, I found out, was they get a nice long field and spout it off in sections. And 3 or 4 of them dig a long trench all in a straight line. And they make a well that way, because then they just stick up one end and they fill in one side. And the well is there. Very easy. So you're going to have to be innovative. You're going to have to find ways to do things that are easier. To beat, or not to beat, but to get along with, and to get ahead in the world as it is. There's lots of opportunity out there. And you can do it. without any trouble. I was watching the proceedings tonight, and I was very pleased that such a heavy turnout of people, because this is the one night, the only night, these young people will graduate from any high school. And it's important that you're all here. I think in closing, I would like to give a very good hand for this graduating class. I'd like to do a better hand than that. Come on, these are your... I would like to see this auditorium just abuzz, and they could hear us right from Monroe to Caledonia. Now, I would really like to root for this group down here. They belong with us. Now, come on, let's give them a good hand. Thank you.
On stage, and I will call on Mr. Wright to thank our guest speaker.
Mr. Lucer, the first part of your speech, I got some sharp things to say, nice things to say. Then I took heed of your words and decided that I wouldn't be as nasty as some of the thoughts that occurred to me, in friendship, of course. And we would certainly like to thank you very much for coming tonight and leaving us with these words of wisdom that certainly impress us all this time. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to make our presentation of certificates of graduation. So I will call the graduates forward and allow this record to be presented. If you want to take pictures while your offspring is going on stage, they'll just stop. Coro Conrad. Gail Kraus. Kathy Daniels. Denise Story. Joanne Fleming. Angela Gabriel. Donna Hitt. Maxine Hines. Vicki Newby. Madeline Jodry. Lisa Langell. Sherry Mason. Annette Meisner. Alicia Minnick. Jane Morton. Colleen Paddock. Lisa Breakers. Sonia Ritchie. Marcy Robar. Mona Robar. Janet Silver. Susan Stockton. Alicia Tellez. Viola Troback. Mary Emino. graduating class may now be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, there is one student who is out in the audience tonight. She has graduated, but she chose to graduate with her high school class in Dartmouth. She attended there up until this year, and that's Joan Derling. So let's give her a round of applause too. Would now call upon Mr. Shields, Mr. Campbell to make the presentation of certificates of distinction.
Make a few comments about the certificate. First of all, the certificate is established to recognize those students that excel academically. We feel the standards are reasonably high. Specifically, students in grade 12 must maintain an average of 85% or higher in the compulsory course of English and any 4 other courses that they are taking. These students are special to us, and we'd like to recognize them in this way. I'd call you up to receive your certificate, and Mr. Campbell will present it to you. Janet Silver. Second certificate, Jane Morton. Vicky Hoogley. Fourth certificate, Michael Eisner. Fifth and final certificate of distinction to be awarded this evening goes to Elsie Christopher.
We'll now call upon Mr. Wright, who is going to present the awards for the evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the oldest awards that's been awarded at the school, given by long-time graduate and friend of New Germany High School, Dr. Roy Kattenberg. I find it here in the pile of that envelopes that I have. I'd like to call upon Dr. Kattenberg to come forward, please, and make this presentation.
Graduates, ladies and gentlemen, platform guests, I probably said that in reverse order. I'll be very brief tonight because it is getting very warm in the audience. For one reason. The second reason that I have a commitment in Halifax at 11 o'clock, the nature of which I will not disclose because my mother is in the audience. And the third reason, I'm too old to remember. As mentioned earlier, I had been presenting this award for some time. I think the first time was back in 1963, so this probably is the 20th year. Some of you probably may not remember me, but you might recognize the suit. I bought it at a 2-for-1 sale in 1959, and I was very pleased this evening to see that Donald Morton is still wearing the other one. Just a word to the graduates. I would simply like to extend to each of you my congratulations and best wishes for a very healthy and successful future. Also congratulate the parents, because I'm led to believe in the faculty of medicine and housing that without your parents, most of you may not have been here tonight. The Plattenberg or the Alumni Trophy is presented annually to the graduate who displayed superior quality of character, leadership, and scholarship. And this individual was captain and assistant coach of the senior boys basketball team, member of the senior boys soccer team, as well as track and field and badminton team, president of athletic council, and maintained a scholastic average during high school of 81%, and I must say that that was 24% higher than my average when I graduated from here back in 1957. And I'm very pleased to announce that the winner of this award is Mr. Arden White. He gets to keep the small one there. There's a large one on the table, and his name will be engraved on that. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Preston. Mr. Lloyd Campbell, please, for the Queen Elizabeth II Medal.
The Queen Elizabeth II Medal is awarded annually to the student most outstanding academically in the grade 12 class, based on marks in English and any 4 other courses. And the winner of this prestigious award this year is Michael Eisner.
David Thingston of the School Board will now present the Lunenburg County District School Board Award.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The Lunenburg County District School Board Award is given to a graduating student who is an exemplary representative of the school, strives towards excellence, and demonstrates leadership abilities. The winner is Arden Wagner. If I may, ladies and gentlemen, comment to Arden that probably for 3 years at least, and maybe a number of years before that, the teachers have been saying to him, "Why did you make this mistake?" Or the athletic director has been saying, "Why did you make this mistake?" Or if you're involved with music, why these problems? I think, Arden, you can graduate this year knowing that some teacher in the system finally made a mistake, because your name is not on this logo. We'll have to present you with the right medal at a later time. But congratulations anyway.
And we're glad to find out that all the mistakes are over with and we can proceed without any further problem. 1979, the Student Council invested $1,000 to establish a special bursary fund. Since that time, it's been traditional that the President of the Student Council come forward to make such a presentation at this time. This year, Joanne Fleming was our President, I'll call upon her now to make the presentation.
This bursary is open to any of our students who wish to continue his or her education in any institution other than a public school after New Jeremy Rural High School. I have to open this up so you know this. The winner of this award is myself.
That really wasn't a mistake. For the past number of years, we've been pleased to have Mr. Ron Feindl of Local 102, the Royal Canadian Legion, come be here with us on these evenings to make presentations on behalf of the New German Legion Scholarship Committee. And I'm not sure it's on the program, but every year they offer 2 prizes of $500 to graduates of the school who intend to go on with further training and education beyond the school. So, Mr. Feindl. The winner of the first prize, a young lady who's traveling to Halifax for further training, is Maxine Hine. And the winner of the second prize is another young lady who is traveling to the Valley for further training and education, Elsie Christopher. Thank you, Mr. Feindl. 3 years ago, we established the New Germany Industry Business and Professional Scholarship Fund. Well, we meant to establish it, but the way it has worked since that time is that every year, annual pleas go out to business community and the professional community of this area who have been most generous every year in providing us with funds and money. In fact, they've been so generous this year that we've been able to provide 2 prizes. And I'll call upon Mr. Otis DeLong, please, to come up to the audience to make these presentations.
Mr. Moderator, distinguished guests, students, it gives me great pleasure to present these gifts to these 2 people tonight. And I noticed who they are. I have a little story to tell about the one person that you're going to remember it or not, but I do. The 2 lucky students are Jane Morton and Art Lightwood. This little lady right here is my next door neighbor. I've known her since day one. I've known my father and my mother since day one, and possibly her grandparents. So she's a fine young lady, and I'm sure I wish to go with her if she goes to, agricultural college. Several years ago, when most of the colleges of agriculture in Canada were attended mostly by men. These last few years it has changed drastically. You see most of them are half the enrollment is very well girls, which I suppose helps us with the morale of the college. So Jane, our best wishes go with you as you go on to further study to prepare yourself for real life work. Arden, you seem to be quite outstanding tonight. You have a lot of recognition. I remember, I think you're the person, I'm not sure, but it's either you or your sister, but I believe it's you. Your mother came back one time to get a few eggs in the house. One of the little fellows was in the car and he locked the door. And the mother came out to leave and, son, would you open that door, please? So, sat there, and the keys was in the kitchen, so no way he was going to open that door. So we got one of the guardsmen from New Germany to go back and open the door. But as you carry on your studies into the electronics and the technology program at the Nova Scotia Institute of Technology, I'm sure you'll do well because you sure excelled here tonight, and it's wonderful to see you young folks doing well, and I hope as you further your studies that you will not forget the days of your youth. You have both been brought up in a Christian community, and I hope you will carry high standards as you, in your conduct as you carry on your studies to prepare yourself for life. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dillon. Every year, a certain proportion of our graduates move on to university experience. This year we have a rather unique situation where we have 7 such students who intend to go on to university. And all of them chose Acadia. Of the 7, 3 of them were offered entrance scholarships of $1,000 each. We thought it appropriate tonight then that we call upon Mr. Billy DeLong to make the presentation. Billy, of course, was here 3 years ago. We reminded ourselves in the lobby before. Now he's off to McGill. I may say that he represents one of those rare occasions, for sure, where a university in the Valley pays one of our students to go elsewhere. He's the happy recipient of a fellowship to go to McGill to study medicine. Soon to be, Dr. Billy DeLong, please.
Well, I sure know with 7 people going to college, I guess Acadia's the only place to go. Be all fun. And anybody says anyone else, like, give one away. We have 3 recipients of scholarships to Acadia. Michael Eisner. Jan Silver. Elsie Christopher.
When I was making arrangements for Billy to be with us here tonight, I had phoned his home and asked for Bill DeLong. Taking advantage, I thought, of his newfound maturity. And his mother, bless her heart, thought that I meant to pay something. So it's back to Billy. I think we'll always will. Mr. Lloyd Campbell, please, to present the Lieutenant Governor's medals.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Lieutenant Governor's medals are awarded to grade 11 students who have distinguished qualities of leadership and service in the school and community, and commendable performance in the courses in which they are enrolled. And the boy and the girl who, I should say girl and boy, who won the Lieutenant Governor medals this year are from from grade 11, Michelle Jodry and Bruce Rodenizer.
Michael Eisner has been given a lot of publicity lately about his accomplishments in terms of being accepted for the ROTP, the Regular Officers Training Plan program, and that he has also been accepted into flight training. He's going to be a pilot. Mike mentioned that this year in Nova Scotia, only 38 candidates from all across the province were accepted into the program, much less, however few, were accepted into pilot training. Pleased again to call upon Mr. Ron Feindl to make a ceremonial presentation of the ROTP scholarship to Michael Eisner. Thank you, Mr. Feindl. May I call upon Mr. Leif Holt of Bowater Mercy to come from the audience to make the next presentation.
Distinguished guests, teachers, ladies and gentlemen, and last but not least, students. I present today the scholarship for Bowater University Tech Company to Janet Silver. Janet, you do already heard all about it. It's no surprise. It's just for the audience's sake, it's worth $6,000, payable annually for $59 a year. When Janet went down there, she gave me her life history, 2 pages of it, but your principal said that Janet already knows she's clever, so you don't have to repeat all that. But Janet, I can see here that you've done extremely well. In grade 10, you were an executive member of the Students' Council, member of the basketball and volleyball team, as well as the drama club. Grade 11, you received the Lieutenant Governor's Award, member of the volleyball team and the drama club. In grade 12, you did multiple other things, including attended the Terry Top Center in Ottawa, editor of the Earl, etc., etc. In the end, as a Miss Sprint here, she got such high marks that I never even got taken in one subject, let alone the average. So Janet, being energetic and very clever, you're also very pretty. And that's a very dangerous combination in university. So a man will come along, sweep you off your feet, take you to Newfoundland. My wife's from Newfoundland, so I appreciate Mr. Luther's remarks there. This is a true story. When I first came to Canada, I was going in pit stops on the Labrador. And I go to the students who got the Carter, that's Carter way. This Newfoundland foreman wasn't too bright, for some reason. Anyway, there's some men down in the hole, and I wanted some extra help up on deck, and I said, "Would you bring somebody up from the hole?" He said, "Sure." So he yells down there, "How many of you is down there?" The answer was 3. "Okay," he said, "3 of you, how can you come up?" Best of luck. And I'm afraid there's no money in that. she has to register before she can get the money. And the second is, my company doesn't trust me with that much money. I'm going to retire on June the 8th, and they'll probably pay somebody's signature to still go off. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Holt. I have 3 prizes left, so that means I'm now through. The Ines Morris Putnam Scholarship was established by an estate, by a lady of the same name, in her will. And it holds that upon application, a female student who is intending to win the training at either the Victoria General or the Montreal General may receive a prize of $200. And also may, and usually successfully, reapply for it in the second year. It also holds that male students, male graduates, who are intending to move on to university at either Dalhousie, Acadia, or Mount Allison, may receive a prize of $500. I'm pleased to report tonight that we have one of each. So, ladies before gentlemen, Susan Stockman, please come forward. We already know that the gentleman involved has to be a future Acadian. In this case, it's Cameron Vino. The newly founded, or I should say expanded, logo of the NSTU, the Nova Scotia Teachers Union, now encompassing the entire county, has made a new award of $250 to a graduating student of the school. We felt that it was altogether fitting the first recipient of this award in its inaugural year should go to a person who is intending to become a teacher, indeed, has been enrolled and accepted into the Nova Scotia Teachers College. Sherry Mason. Congratulations to all 3 of you. Mr. Luther, you were quite right. We have to come back to you for help once again. Would you come forward, please, to present the Village Drugstore Award?
This award is different than some of the others. The top athlete, academic student, and outstanding leader are automatically disqualified. Student has to be conscientious in his or her studies, but does not need to be outstanding academically. Passing grades are absolutely necessary, but we're not looking for top-notch book people. The maximum attention in this award is for the student who is sincere, hardworking, cooperative, and is greatly involved in extracurricular activities, such as music, drama, and students' council. And the winner of this award is Joanne Fleming.
For the second year in a row, Mr. Randall Hoover is surprising all of us with his presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. I've tried to start a tradition here in the band program whereby we honor graduates each year with a small gift from the band for their time and effort and contributions they have made to the music program. And we have one young lady in our graduating class this year who's worked very hard for the band in the last 2 years. And I'd like Jane Moore to step forward. You're not going to get it yet. Just a couple of things about Jane's musical ability and a few other things that you might be interested in. Jane has played electric piano and jazz band for us for the past year. She also plays French horn in the concert band, usually. And she's always there when you need somebody to help. She's a great fundraiser. She's a seamstress, and she's a dynamite baker. Jane, good luck.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hoover. Martin, perhaps one last favor. Could you show the hall the Village Drugstore Award that we made for the school? Yes. This is the award that Mr. Hoover has donated and stays with the school with all the names of the annual recipients. 2 days ago at the athletic banquet here in this hall, 2 senior students were acknowledged as being the outstanding athletes of the year. Heather Wagner and Arden Wagner. Congratulations.
Now call on Mr. Keith Trimper to make a presentation.
Chairman, graduates, friends, my first duty, of course, will be to wish each and every one of those graduates all the best. However, at this time, on behalf of the students and faculty of this school, have the honor of presenting a memento to a great friend of the school, that is teachers and students. I know that many of you are former students of either this school or the elementary, you meet as north, and you recall a particular individual who fixed your desk, tampered with doorknobs, and pushed a brush broom. This friend has been working in the New Germany schools as custodian, as the head custodian for the past 29 years. Within a few weeks, Carol Risser is retiring. With that retiree, a great friend and counselor to so many students, the past and present, a man who answered the many teachers and principals' requests for help. Carol Risser, please come to the podium.
The plaque reads, in appreciation to Harold Ritzer, head custodian of Germany Royal High, 1954 to 1983. The staff and students of New Germany Royal High School extend appreciation for your outstanding contribution to the school life during your 29 years. Thanks a lot, Harold.
Board members, parents, beloved students, graduates, and former students that passed through as parents, I want to thank everybody that was concerned with this trophy or this plaque with the deepest of appreciation. And I sincerely hope and wish that everything will go well in this school as I've done so many years to serve it. And I want to thank, in particular, all the supervisors that I have worked with, teachers, students, helped to guide, along with the old broom pushing and everything else. And it's a wonderful feeling, after 29 years, mind you, to get my graduation ticket. I don't see my diploma, but I'll consider this it. And thank you ever so much.
Special school board presentation.
Thank you, Mr. White. I too would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the graduates tonight. But my purpose here is to say thank you to Mr. Ritzer on behalf of the Lunenburg County District School Board for his long years of service in New Germany schools. Mr. Ritzer.
Now call upon Glenn Vino of the graduating class to bring the valedictory address. Mr. Vino.
Shields, Mr. White, parents, teachers, district school board members, honored guests, friends, and fellow graduates. June 27th is not the end, but the beginning of our lives and goals, progressing from dreams and turning into the reality we always hope for. Tonight signalizes the end of high school as each of us pursues a career which interests us most dearly. We will never be able to forget our days at New Germany. The day we once looked at graduates when we were 5 years old. Today, we look at 5 years old as graduates. Over those 13 years, many changes have taken place, and we have many to thank for these changes. Parents, without your love, support, and forgiveness, we may not be here as graduates tonight. You are the ones to thank. The ones who worked so hard to help us through times when we saw no meaning in what we were doing, yet it meant so much to you. You brought us into this world and gave us care and provided our needs. To thank you, we stand here on stage as graduates tonight, showing very proudly what we have accomplished. At times we may not show it, but we really love you, what you have given us, and the way you've shown your love to us. The school is not complete without a teaching staff, one of high-caliber teaching staff New Germany has. It takes patience, understanding, intelligence, and a sense of humor to be a good teacher. All the qualifications and more shown by our teachers. You were responsible for us from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and often many longer hours for not only what went on in our studies, but also our welfare away from home. There are many times when we consider your watchful eye more like the grass of a grandmother
but really appreciated just how concerned you really were. Many may think a teacher's job ends at 3:30, but let him know that teachers work many hours after the last student leaves the school. It takes time and patience to develop young minds into the society of tomorrow. We would like to thank you, the teachers, for all the times you worked so hard to ensure that we knew the correct path to lead out of this vast world. You are our friends, also as our instructors. Thanks for that meaningful friendship. One often forgets who is responsible for the books we use, the buildings we work in, the efforts to keep the school clean, and those who provide transportation to and from the school. Members of the District School Board, we thank you for your ability to provide us with first-class education. You are seldom complimented for your efforts, so we now compliment you for a job well done. With 500 students in one building, the question can be raised as to how a building remains so clean and tidy. There's no secret formula used, just the hard work of our ambitious custodians. You are the ones to thank for the clean school we had to work in. Special thanks goes out to my uncle, Mr. Harold Risser, who's retiring this year. Harold has been a dear friend to all the graduates of the school, and the school also miss him dearly. Mrs. DeLong, Miss Joker, we thank you for your patience and help in assisting us when we requested it. It has been truly appreciated. We certainly cannot forget those who make it possible for our getting to school on time through ice, snow, and rain, and returning us home as safely as we left. We thank you, bus drivers and mechanics, for all the transportation and privileges you provide. Finally, the hardest part of valedictorian is saying goodbye to people you will be with since your first school days. New faces came along with the years, all of us to have risen from the top of our hearts. We have learned to respect one another and depend on one another, as one family does through hardships and good times. It is hard for us to say goodbye to each other, but if you think back to all the good times we had, like all the dances we attended, the day of our last exam, or even the first day we all met one another, saying goodbye can be only regarded as a farewell rather than an expression. It is my hope that each and every one of us meets again someday and are able to discuss the great things that happened since graduation tonight. I would like to take this opportunity to wish every graduate the very best of luck whenever he or she plans for the years to come. May the good times we had with this group remain in our hearts for eternity. In closing, on behalf of all the graduates of 1983, I'd like to thank everyone who's been associated with our success throughout the years. God bless each and every one of you. Again, thanks.
I'd like at this time to congratulate all graduates and tell you that sincerely that we'll miss you next year. You've been as well behaved as any grade 12 class we had in a long while. Fewer water throwings and snowballs in the building than last year, Tony. And you've done quite well academically, so we are going to miss you and wish you a whole lot of luck. Alicia Tellez, will you come out here a minute, please? You'll see by looking at Alicia that New Germany is not the only area that has pretty girls. Alicia is from Mexico. I called her as a graduate. She didn't really technically graduate because she hasn't been here long enough. But she did come here in September knowing Mexican, Spanish, and very, very little English. And she received credits, I think, in 4 subjects, maybe 5 out of 6. So she's done very, very well. I'm hoping that the other graduates will drop in next year and say hello and attend the dance and tell us how we did and how they're doing. But I don't expect Lisa's going to drop in too many years unless she decides to come back here and live. So Alicia, I think she leaves back home July the 2nd. So all of us want to express our thanks for your coming here. We've enjoyed you and your personality and your friendliness, and we want to wish you a whole lot of luck as you go back to Mexico.
When I came here, I was afraid because I said, well, what people like, I don't know. But then everybody, especially grade 12s, they were so nice, and I made a lot of friends who I'll never forget. Thank you very much. I love you.
Now call upon Mr. Bruce Shields, Principal, for closing remarks.
I mentioned in my opening remarks, part of the opening remarks, that it gave me great pleasure to see these students pick themselves up after they fell flat on their face and proceed onward to success. Yes, I'm a bit embarrassed this evening because Mr. Theakston's embarrassment on the school board award is my embarrassment, and I share the responsibility for that error. Mr. Theakston, I apologize for that embarrassment. These graduates, these young ladies and gentlemen, as I've called them for the last 2 years, are going to be leaving the community. Many of them go out into their future vocations for the coming years. And they're going to carry with them the reputation, the honor of being graduates of this high school. And I wish to mention to them that the honor of the high school and the future students is in their hands. So if you do well, we share in your successes. If you don't do well, then we share in your failures also. In summing up and closing for the evening, I wish to give recognition to Mr. White for so capably assuming responsibility for the organization of this evening, which has gone very well. Special thanks to teachers Mrs. Kathy Croft, Shirley McDonald, Lyle Schnauger for their work in preparing the food for the reception, which is to follow. Mr. David Wright for his efforts in organizing scholarships and awards. Of course, Mrs. DeLong and Ms. Joby for their efforts at the typewriter. I'd also like to give special recognition to another group of people. And at the end of every school year, we're sad to see people leave us. In addition to the grad this year, we are especially sad to be losing the following teachers. Mr. Hoover, who's been with us now for 3 years, will be leaving us for next year. He's going to Bridgewater. Mrs. Kathy Robar, who has done an admirable job in special education, will be going half-time in the elementary school. Mrs. Marty King in reading specialist, same thing. And our librarian, Mrs. Plummer, who is going to be going to Halifax to assume a very prestigious job. I'm going to miss these individuals, and as principal in the school, I wish to assure you that they are very hard to replace. I would like to invite the graduates and their families to go downstairs after the ceremony here and take part in the reception in rooms 1 and 2, Mr. Smith and Mr. Boss's room. And just a little commercial plug here. Grads who purchased a grad folder may pick it up outside Mr. Vino's room at the end of the ceremony. It's been warm out here this evening. It's the last time I have to say good luck. God bless. Thank you. When the band starts, I would ask you to stand